The entire exhibit is entitled Imágenes Indígenas, the Indio response to evangelization. The Museo would like to present the story of evangelization in the context of colonization seen from the perspective of the Filipinos. The religious art displayed in this exhibit are seen as a zone of contact and a vehicle of translation.
Imagine two different worlds, two different cultures, meeting and trying to understand each other and reacting to each other. And art is their common ground.
However, the colonizer, the one evangelizing, is imposing its way of understanding to the colonized.
This narrative about the Indio response is better illustrated in the Gallery of the Immaculate Conception.
When the first Spanish missionaries arrived in the Philippines,
They were observing the behavior of the people who inhabited the islands.
one observation they made was that the women were bare-breasted and bathed naked in the river with men.
When they saw this, they were scandalized and immediately interpreted what they saw as immoral.
Indians.
In their point of view, were unchaste women. Then on, they propagated the devotion to the Immaculate Conception. For an overview of the Immaculate Conception, we need to trace its history.
It was Pope Pius IX in 1854 who defined the dogma of the Immaculate Conception. However, the Diocese of Manila was already under her protection as early as 1578.
In Mindoro, a church had been named after the Immaculate Conception in 1581, and a sodality for girls was established in Tinagon, Samar in 1605.
Spain and the Indies would only come under the Immaculate Conception's international protection in the 17th century.
In terms of the image's iconography, in the 17th century, Mary is portrayed as a young girl attired in a white robe and a blue cloak, her hands clasped together.
The cusp of the horned moon pointed downward. She wears the Franciscan belt with the three knots signifying obedience, chastity, and poverty.
The Franciscans were one of the primary defenders of the concept of the Immaculate Conception. Let me show to you an interesting feature.
This bas-relief from the Jacinto family chapel in Polo, Valenzuela best represent how the concept of the Immaculate Conception was illustrated and explained to Indios, close to the way Pacheco defined the Immaculata.
Notice the image of Mary as a young girl attired in robe and cloak.
She stands on the crescent moon as described in Revelations chapter 12, verse 1. Take a look at Mary crushing a coiled serpent as stated in Genesis chapter 3, verse 15.
In reference to the Bible, Mary is surrounded by symbols of her purity and chastity, as described in the Canticle of Canticles and other books of the Old Testament, namely
The rose of Sharon, the closed garden, the fountain and the garden, the Tower of David, the spotless mirror of God, beautiful as the moon, bright as the sun, the well, the lily of the valleys, the cedar of Lebanon, the ladder to heaven, also known as Jacob's ladder, from the vision of St. Francis.
Apart from this, others displayed are the large-scale images of the Immaculate Conception that probably came from church altars. In the future, we shall display the small-scale images that chronicles the development of the local iconography of the Immaculate Conception.